Hey, welcome to another episode of Brews101. Today we're going to tackle tequila and everything about tequila. So from about 1000 BC up until about 280, years of inspiration for an early tequila-like drink started in the Aztecs' hands, and they called their fermented drink pulque or pulque. From the 1400s through the 1500s, the Spanish began to distill mud and agave known as mezcal. By the mid-1500s, the Spanish government started the first mezcal trade route. In the 1600s, the Marquis of Altamira built the first large-scale distillery in what is now Tequila, Jalisco, Mexico. Modern tequila is born around the 1700s till about the 1800s by the Cuervo family and the Sueza family, and they both started producing tequila the world is in love with today. In 1936, the wonderful margarita is invented, so thank you, Guy. And then in 1974, tequila became the intellectual property of Mexico. So today, importers from around the world continue to source tequila from the good old country of Mexico. Alright, enough history, let's get down to the interesting stuff. Tequila is broken up into 5 different classifications: Blanco, Woven, Reposado, Añejo, and Extra Añejo. So Blancos, or silver tequilas, are mostly unaged, but they can lightly be rested in oak for up to 60 days. Wovens are Blanco tequilas with anything added to them, any kind of spice, any kind of extra thing added are going to be a woven tequila. Reposado tequilas are rested in wood barrels anywhere from 2 months right up to a day before 1 year. Añejo tequilas are aged in wood barrels from 1 to 3 years, and then extra añejos are just aged longer than 3 years. However, some brands like Fuentesca can be aged up to 21 years. Cristalino is an aged tequila that is filtered again to remove the color for a clear sipping tequila with aged characteristics. So if you want something that's clear but tastes like an extra añejo, then get yourself a Cristalino. So if you made it this far, you're probably asking yourself, well, what is tequila? What makes tequila tequila? Well, tequila is a distilled spirit made from the agave, Weber Blue, Blue Agave, or Agave Azul, and produced only in 5 areas of Mexico. These areas are known as the Denomination of Origin Tequila, or DOT, and recognized as such in more than 40 countries. So there are in total 166 different species of the agave plant, which a lot of people think is a cactus, but is actually a succulent. Out of those 166 different species, 125 of which can be found in Mexico, but only the Weber Blue, named after a botanist because of the blue hue of its green foliage, can be used to make tequila. These plants are really particularly suited for the area because of the silicate-rich and red volcanic soils in the region and around the city of Tequila, with more than 300 million plants harvested there every year. Now, the Mexican government has imposed a very strict regulation to control what can be called tequila and how it is made. So those that adhere to these regulations, including the registration of all agave grown for tequila production, are authenticated by the Tequila Regulatory Council, or the CRT, and carry a Norma Oficial Mexicana number, or NOM number, on each bottle's label identifying the distillery. So tequila must be made with a minimum of 51% blue agave, with legislation allowing for the remainder to be made up of a neutral spirit made from cane sugar juice. Those that are 100% blue agave are labeled as such, while those with less than 100% are called mixto. All tequilas are required to be aged at least 14 to 21 days. It must be made from 100% natural ingredients and be a minimum alcohol percentage of 38. Unlike whiskey, where the majority of time is spent in the aging process, producing tequila, however, requires a huge amount of time just invested in the cultivation of the agave plant. So the blue agave plant takes about a minimum of 6 years to mature, but those planted in the highlands can take up to 12 years to mature. So when the plant is mature, it produces a single flower that dies, and then they cut that off, and that's called the piña. Piñas can weigh as much as 200 pounds. Piñas are also known as the hearts, and so they take the ripe hearts and then they cook them for 24 to 48 hours, or baked in faster steam ovens called autoclaves for 7 hours, where the starches are converted into fermentable sugars. Then after cooking, the hearts are pressed and shredded to release the the sugary juice known as honey water. It is then put into fermentation tanks where yeast is added, though traditionally spontaneous fermentation using natural occurring airborne yeast is still used by a small number of distillers. The liquid is then left to ferment in open or closed vats or wood or stainless steel tanks for 24 to 96 hours. The resulting liquid has a 6% alcohol content, which can then further be distilled at least a minimum of 2 times by a combination of pot and column stills made of copper or more commonly stainless steel. The style of tequila produced is controlled considerably by the distiller, who must find a balance between different flavor compounds and the temperatures they'll evaporate at. The resulting alcohol content varies between 70 and 110 proof and is the basic tequila, blanco, or silver tequila. So some of your more popular brands are going to be Patron, Sousa, and Jose Cuervo, just to name a few. I don't know about you guys, but I love my tequila. I like just drinking it in shots, just knocking it back. If you want to take shots of tequila, my suggestion is to take a shot, don't immediately swallow it, kind of swirl it around your mouth a little bit to kind of get that full flavor profile. Because what a lot of people do is they knock it back and then they taste that bitterness. And there's some speculation with scientists on where you taste bitter and sweet on different areas of your tongue. And a lot of people think that you taste bitterness with the back of your tongue. So when you shoot any kind of alcohol, it just goes to the back of your throat and you taste the bitterness, and that's all you taste. Next time, just try swirling it around in your mouth a little bit to get that whole flavor. You might thank me, you might cuss me, I don't know. But thanks for listening to this episode. That's about all I can tell you about tequila. So thanks for listening. Cheers.